through time. I want to touch the surviving pieces of history frozen in Barcelona. The city is, first and foremost, about people. After all, it's they who breathed life into it, not buildings that suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Established in 1870 by Mark Viader, Granja Viader is one of the most emblematic spots in Barcelona. It's not just known for its dairy products, but also for creating the famous Chocolat, the first bottled cacao milkshake, in 1931. The family-run establishment still operates in its original location near the Raval neighborhood, serving a variety of dairy products, pastries, and of course the historic chocolate drink. Granja Viader is a testament to the Barcelona's culinary tradition, offering a nostalgic glimpse to the city's past through its delicious treats. Another gem of the Pastisseria Escribà, founded in 1906 by Antoni Escribà. This confectionery shop has become a symbol of creativity and innovation in the world of sweets. Antoni's descendants have continued his legacy, turning pastry into edible art. Their window displays alone worth a visit, often themed and elaborately decorated. Escribà is famous for its cakes, chocolates, and other sweet delights, embodying the fusion of tradition and modernity in Barcelona's confectionery scene. Fargas Chocolates, dating back to 1827. Fargas Chocolates is a confectionery store that has become a landmark in Barcelona. Its longevity speaks volumes, offering handcrafted chocolates and sweets made with traditional methods passed down through generations. The store, located in Gothic Quarter, retained its 19th century charm with wooden interiors and antique chocolate-making equipment on display. Fargas is a journey back in time, providing a taste of Barcelona's rich confectionery heritage. While not based in Barcelona city itself, but in nearby Agramunt, Turrones Vicens deserves a mention for its impact in Catalan confectionery. Founded in 1775, it has become synonymous with turron, nougat, a traditional Christmas treat in Spain. Over the years, Vicens had innovated a well-respected tradition, offering a wide range of flavors and combinations. Their products are a staple of Barcelona's confectionery shops during the holiday season, representing the blend of artisanal craftsmanship and culinary innovation. I started getting into dolls around the same time the movie Chocolat came out, featuring a still young heartthrob Johnny Depp. But even before that, I was captivated by the novel written by the English author John Harris. It was almost immediately adapted into a film in 2000 by director Lasse Hallström. It's a magical story about the transformation of a small conservative French town thanks to a chocolate shop opened by Vianne Rocher and her daughter during Lent, right across from the church. With her exquisite treats, she changes the lives of the local residents, bringing a wind of change with her and causing various conflicts and relationships. Through the prism of my doll-making craft, this film and book remind me of how art can influence people and change their perception of the world and even their environment. In doll art, as a Vianne's chocolate making, there is a kind of magic that can awaken your feelings and emotions in people. Each doll I create carries a story, unique and deeply personal. Similar to how the chocolate in the film awakens long-forgotten desires and aspirations in the townspeople. I am pleased that after so many years, even decades, I have remained true to my dream and now see parts of myself in the heroine of the story. Today the movie might seem a bit archaic, but I am now deliberately trying to capture a sense of classicism in my work, to add the crackle of vinyl to the sound, to immerse myself in tradition, to dissolve in an old town. But to immerse yourself in the atmosphere of the movie, you don't necessarily have to watch it. If you need to focus on work, I recommend you listen to the soundtrack for this film. It's simply made for creating to its sound. Indeed, it can be considered a valuable tip. I might not be revealing anything revolutionary when I say that working on movie soundtracks is effective. But it's not obvious to everyone. My top picks are The Young Pope, Goodbye Lenin, Chocolat, and Once Upon a Time in America. I promised to conclude my series on fighting depression with a story about how I untangled a web of feelings and originated back in the USSR. Figuratively speaking, of course. In my country, it's not very customary to think about feelings, more about actions. So, from sweetness, leaf moved to bitterness. Almost everyone experiences a time when their familiar world collapses and they have to claw their way out of new circumstances. Write in the comments about your own story of overcoming depression. Connecting with you is very important to me and I read every comment. The story, full of uncertainties, ended a couple of months ago when, after much searching, I found a new psychotherapist. The doctor is located in Greece and, like me, fled Russia for political reasons. And here is an interesting personal moment that did not add my disappointment in people. His last conversation with her father, when they likely spoke in person for the last time. He grew up in a military family, yet he studied and worked as a doctor. Started a family and his wife is also a doctor. All doctors in Russia are military obliged. And then they announced mobilization. So the son approaches his father to say goodbye, both sworn hereditary military men, and the father blesses his son to move abroad, giving him money for the leap. Unfortunately for some people, the oath to the state turns out to be more important than their loved ones. I think this is an aberration. Thank God, it was possible to leave the country by convoluted paths. And now I can pour out my soul to someone who understands me. Apparently, in difficult times, it's impossible to have a psychologist with whom you have different political views. As you see, I am not giving advice. I am just sharing how I managed to get out the pit myself. The first time, those helped me. The second time, therapy with a specialist is helping. Write about what personally helped you. Let's discuss. Maybe your example can help someone else. As is known, if something helped even one person, then it's already a very good deed. And here is another funny thing. When my battery started to run low, I pondered why two battery brands have identical bunnies. The story between Energizer and Duracell is quite interesting and convoluted. First, in 1973, the famous pink bunny was introduced by Duracell. It was part of an advertising campaign demonstrating the longevity of their batteries, where numerous toy bunnies powered by batteries played drums. One of the bunnies, powered by Duracell batteries, continued to play longer than the others, thereby demonstrated the superiority of their product. Energizer introduced its bunny only in 1989 as a response to Duracell's advertiser campaign. The distinctive feature of the Energizer bunny is that it never stops, highlighting the idea that Energizer batteries last so long that even a battery-powered bunny cannot deplete their energy. This advertiser campaign was so successful that the Energizer bunny became more recognizable than its Duracell predecessor. However, due to various marketing strategies and legal disputes between the two companies over the rights to use the bunny image, many people are confused about who first used this character in their advertising campaigns. The Duracell bunny came first, but thanks to Energizer's aggressive and memorable advertising campaign, their bunny became more popular and recognizable in culture. Dolls are all about details, and again details. And most challenging aspect is maintaining proportionality in dolls. Dolls don't tolerate synthetic fabrics. Most often, I use natural silk. Silk itself embodies not only luxury and beauty, but also great human achievements in trade, cultural exchange, and technology. Its history begins 5,000 years ago in China. There is a beautiful legend about how Empress Leizu, the wife of the Yellow Emperor, discovered silk. Once, while she was drinking tea under mulberry tree, the cocoon from silk most accidentally fell into her cup. Trying to extract it, she finds that the cocoon unraveled into a long, thin, and strong thread. Thus, the secret of silk was uncovered. The Chinese kept the technology of silk production a secret for a long time, allowing them to have a monopoly on its production and trade. The Silk Road, a network of trade routes connecting East and West, got its name from the silk trade. These routes played a key role in the cultural and economic exchange between various civilizations. According to legend, knowledge of silk production was smuggled out of China by two monks who hid silkworms in their hollow bamboo staves to bring them to Byzantium. Thus, silk spinning became known in Europe, leading to the development of the silk industry in places such as Italy and France. Nowadays, silk vendors often ask me what purpose I have for the fabric. I await the answer and spare them the disappointment that I cut the most beautiful fabrics into small pieces to make doll clothes. I often buy designer fabrics. My latest acquisition is an Italian silk scarf. Over it, I performed my usual act of vandalism. Sorry for begging for likes, but it is not too much trouble for you, is it? Please leave a like and subscribe. Every doll in this collection has a tutu skirt. To make such a skirt look beautiful, it's not enough just to get a few ruffles at the waist. I make this skirt following all the ballet rules. Firstly, the skirt has a base with an A-line silhouette. Several layers of ruffles are sewn onto this base. For a person, simple gathers might be enough, but the doll is small, and it took me a while to figure out how to make these gathers proportional. So I found a crinkled silk. Naturally, as dolls don't tolerate synthetic fabrics, if this fabric is moistened, it noticeably shrinks. Then, using machine stitching, I gather it into pleats. There should be two lines of stitching, and it's necessary to stitch in the same direction. otherwise the fabric won't gather properly. It is convenient to use thread in a contrasting color. Next, you need to moisten the middle and strongly stretch it with both hands in opposite directions. And dry it with a hair dryer. It's great if you have an assistant to hold the hair dryer. Doing it by yourself turns it into a good balancing act. The resulting detail is sewn in the middle and the threads used for the gatherers are pulled out. This creates two beautiful ruffles suitable for our purpose. I have signed up for English classes with Japanese woman born in the UK. So, in a month or two, I have been delighting you with my prim accent. Barcelona is quite the party city. They know all the recipes for fighting depression here. Thanks to my English lessons, I'll try not to mix up the pronunciation of cacao and coconut and avoid any ambiguity, especially since both cacao and cocaine are exported to Spain from roughly the same places. The journey of cocoa beans to Spain and Europe at large begins with voyages of Christopher Columbus and the Spanish conquest of the Americas. Although Columbus encountered cocoa beans during his fourth voyage to the New World in 1502, it was Hernán Cortés who realized their value after the conquest of the Aztec Empire in the early 16th century. The Aztecs valued cacao beans both as a currency for their ability to make a bitter, frothy drink called chocolate, believed to be a gift from the gods. Upon arriving in the Aztec capital, Tenochtitlan, Cortés and his men were introduced to this drink, which was initially unappealing to them due to its bitterness. However, they soon began to appreciate its stimulating effect and started experimenting by adding sugar and spices to sweeten it, thus making it more palatable to European tastes. This adaptation marked the beginning of the transformation of chocolate from a sacred Aztec beverage to a sweet delicacy cherished by the Spanish aristocracy. The first cacao beans were brought back to Spain in the early 16th century, and for a while, chocolate remained a closely guarded secret among the Spanish nobility, who were the only ones who could afford this exotic and expensive luxury. Monasteries in Spain played a significant role in the early production of chocolate, with monks being entrusted with the task of processing the cacao beans and making the chocolate drink. It was not long before the trend spread to other parts of Europe, with Spain controlling the importation of the cacao beans from the Americas. By the 17th century, chocolate has become deeply ingrained in Spanish culture. It was consumed by people of all social classes, often served with breakfast or as afternoon snack alongside churros. The Spanish method of preparing chocolate, hot and thick, became characteristic and was eventually adopted by other European countries, each adding its unique twists to the beverage. The story of how cacao beans arrived in Spain, eventually transforming the country into one of the early epicenters of chocolate consumption in Europe, it's a fascinating tale of exploration, colonialism, and culinary adaptation. Girls and boys, everything is good in moderation. If you cry too much, you'll get swollen. If you overindulge in chocolates, you will also get swollen, but in a different place. Sorry for the stuffiness, but let's get inspired carefully. Please leave a like and subscribe. And best of all, Share your experience with Fight and Sadness in the comments. How have dolls, silk, and chocolate helped you, or was it something else?